This is the worst computer I own. It's an old used Chromebook, and it's covered in stickers. Maybe we can take care of that. It's not too hard to peel this off. Wow, why didn't I do this before? It looks so much nicer. I bought this thing used on Amazon, so they covered the outside with these little layers of plastic. Yeah, there we go. I picked this Chromebook because it has an HDMI port, and that makes this whole project possible. My idea is to open this thing up, take out the motherboard, and then put it into a receiver, and that will make it into a living room gaming PC. Yes, it starts, and it only has 14 megabytes of free space, and 0% battery. And yes, it works with the monitor, that's great. We've lost half of our storage, down to 8 megabytes, oh no. And the internet works, we can watch Wolf Byte, that's pretty cool. Subscribe. Alright, I'm on the floor now. Space is tight in the Wolf Byte studio. This is the receiver, and here's the Chromebook. The plan is to take the top off and put the board inside for streaming games, and then game consoles could be connected to these ports on the back. Let's see if we can't get this thing open. We're in. That's a big case. Alright, we've got a big heatsink type thing, and a big power supply. Oh no, I gotta be careful. We don't want to touch that. All the chips up here. Zentel, I think they do video encoding. Texas Instruments chip, I think that handles Dolby Atmos. Lots of stuff here. I think this thing might be a radio, and oh look, another power supply. Alright, it's time to open up the Chromebook and see if we can get the board out. I've actually opened this thing once when I was installing Linux on it, and I had to remove a write protect screw. I don't think it was too hard to open. It's unscrewing time. What's inside the mysterious Chromebook? Well, it's not the most dust-free thing I've ever seen. So these two are speakers. This is the battery. Under here is the whole CPU. This is dedicated RAM. We got a big turbine kind of fan, a board with some ports, and the main plug's over here, and a screen plug. And this was the write protect screw I had to remove. Let's take out this battery. It's pretty big. Ew, it's filthy. That's what I get for buying used. Let's get out this network card here. Looks pretty nice. Speaker. Oh, that was tough. Just unclip these little wires here. Nah, we broke something. Well, there's the speakers, just as grimy. Ew. Yes, didn't break the ribbon. They stuck everything down with like sticky taping glue. These are like antenna cables. Can we, yep, there we go. Let's get the fan too. And let's try to get the heatsink off so we can remove the whole board. Oh, gosh. Yeah, that's the good stuff. I think this is the screen cable. Kind of hard to pull out. Shoot, I cut myself. That always happens. Electronics are sharp. Is this thing stuck in? Oh, wait, there's another screw. Yeah, there we go. We've got our motherboard, and it's got more RAM on the bottom. This looks pretty nice. Those chip dies have no integrated heatsink, it's just straight silicon. Alright, so this thing is smaller than I was expecting. It should fit anywhere we need in the receiver. We could also put it up front here, or on top, or pretty much anywhere. So I think the plan should be to take every other Chromebook piece out of this case, and hook them all up to each other on my workbench. Connect them all to the motherboard, and plug it into the screen. If it boots, then we know everything still works, and we can start removing things to see what's not a boot requirement. And if it doesn't boot, we say, oh crap, and we see where we broke it. So let's take everything else out. This board gives us a USB port and an SD card reader. We don't need either of those. This tiny thing does power and charge lights. This thing is the trackpad. It's fairly nice. I just can't go back to a plastic trackpad after using a Mac for so long. I think we could take the screen off the bottom chassis. There we go. Alright, so this is the screen. Concerningly, these antenna cables go into it, which probably means the internet is in the screen. Oh wait, no, this is the internet. All the pieces, boom, now they're put together. Now we get to see if it boots. There's no way that worked so easily. There's no way this just works, that's crazy. Although the fan is spinning, it's not really connected to the chips. We should fix that later. Now, if we disconnect this connector, will it boot without the screen? Hey, it works! And that means the screen is not a boot requirement, or the battery, by the way. I plugged it directly in. Keyboard and trackpad aren't needed either. I plugged in my Raspberry Pi keyboard, which is also a USB hub, and I also connected a mouse, and they both work. That means this board can start itself. None of this is needed. Just this. That is so cool. Speaking of cool, these chips aren't as hot as they expected them to be. I've been looking at the receiver. I think this is going to work great. The motherboard fits perfectly right there. On the back, this is the receiver's power cord, and it has this little space filling block, giving us space to route more cords through there. I'm going to tape this in here. There we go, nice. We've got loads more space. We can put this here, and put the USB hub cable out here, and the power cable. I've been thinking, this motherboard concerns me. It needs thermal paste, and I don't have any thermal paste. And this is a zero budget project, so I'm not going to buy any. So we're going to do something absolutely nobody recommends, and we're going to use Vaseline. I'm just going to try and fill in the gaps in the old thermal paste. Hopefully this solves more problem than it causes. I'll also put some on the copper pipe. And there we go, the finished product. I wonder how long it'll take this thing to experience its own thermal death. Like the video if I should buy thermal paste. Guess what? It's assembly day. The board's all ready to go, and I'm switching the USB cable out for this longer one. So this guy's gonna go here, and we'll hook it all up. Monitor power is going on now. Come on. Come on. Yeah, it's not booting. So that's not good. We have some screen interference. The board is sitting next to this massive metal thing, which probably means it's interfering with the signal. The cable must not be properly shielded. So we need a new place to mount this. New plan, I'm going to cut up this box and make a nice cardboard shelf inside the receiver. I should probably protect my workbench. There we go. Perfect, it looks great. I'm gonna put it in the receiver. I'm back, it's connected now, and I got a good cable for once. Took this off my DVD player, 4K HDR, goes out the back, hooks up to the right spot this time. No internal cable needed. TV is hooked up, and we've done it. No interference, and the USB stuff works. Now let's start this thing. Do we have internet? No, we don't. Well, that's great. One problem after another. It's time to try and connect the internet antenna. Oh no. That's not good. I figured it out. Every time I boot this thing lately, and I've tried a lot, it errors out. I hooked up the antennas, and I tried to remove the network card during boot to make sure it wasn't overriding things. But then I realized, and you guys probably realized this way longer ago, this isn't a network card, it's an M.2 card. Which means this is the solid-state drive. That's the computer's entire storage drive and boot disk. When I pulled this out during boot, I basically removed Linux while I was trying to start. I'll be lucky if the whole drive isn't corrupted. That's not good. Don't remove your operating system while you're trying to start it. We're going to plug this back in and leave it this time. This white thing is the network card. That's why the antenna cable's plugged into it. How did I not realize that? I tried to boot from the original screen, but yeah, I think our Linux install is toast. I plugged the lights and extra USB thing in, so we can put our keyboard there, which frees up our USB 3 port over here, and we'll plug this flash drive into it. I made a bootable Linux ISO flash drive, meaning I can plug this in and boot Ultramarine Linux live, so the SSD isn't even involved. the entire OS is running off the flash drive. So we'll plug this in, and the system should be ready. Power is going on now. And we're in the BIOS. The boot menu detects our ISO, but first I'm going to fix the boot order. We'll put the flash drive on top, enter, escape, save changes, and boot. We've got a few versions of Ultramarine. Let's use the top one. Come on. Oh, we got a mouse. Oh, we got a menu bar. We've done it. Finally, it works perfectly. Let's pop in the antennas. If the internet works, we're done, and then it's gaming time. I need a mouse pad, so I grabbed my Wii. Should work great. The internet works now. I had to do some Linux terminal magic to set the time correctly, otherwise YouTube wouldn't start. I have 434 subscribers at the time of filming. If you're watching this in the future, let me know how far we've come. You can subscribe right now to make that number go up. Finally, it's gaming time. The setup is done. Our Chromebook motherboard is inside the receiver and connected directly to the TV. I tried to connect it through the receiver like my plan was for input switching, but the Chromebook won't start without a direct screen connection, so I had to wire past the receiver. But it's still a Chromebook game console, it still counts, because it sits under a TV, and you can use the receiver part to connect other consoles, like a Wii perhaps. But the main goal is to stream PC games using GeForce Now, and that is what we are about to do. Let's boot the flash drive, Ultramarine, and here we are. Welcome to the home screen of the world's first Chromebook game console. We're in Fortnite. I cannot believe this works. Let's get a game in quick before it all breaks. We're in the lobby. This is totally playable. It's got a good frame rate. Sorry about the bad filming. It's hard to hold your phone in one hand and do mouse and keyboard with the other hand. Let's just land here. I have no idea where we are. There's like a helicopter here. I don't even know the current Fortnite season. I haven't played in months. Also, there's no sound, because this monitor has no speakers. It's a little laggy. Let's go up this rope here. We'll loot this chest. Nice, some splash juice. Just imagine the sound effect. We've got a gun now, and my camera is in the sky. And look at that, high ping, who would have guessed? There's like an orange box here. Oh, we got purple stuff. Oh no, spotty connection. Really? It looks fine to me. Oh, we're running. I'm not even pressing the button. Oh, he's running all on his own. I'm not even touching the keyboard. He's just going. He's going. And we're stuck in a corner. Oh, they're coming for us. Ah, shoot. There we go. Hey, 56th place. Not bad. We beat like half the players. So there we have it. Would I recommend making a Chromebook game console? No. No, I would not. The streaming is just bad. And I have good internet. That's not the problem. Maybe it's the fact that the antenna is stuffed inside a big metal box? Nah, that couldn't be the problem. I don't know. Comment below if you have another project idea for me. I usually make mini documentaries about the history of old game consoles. So this was a fun new idea for me to try. You've been watching Wolf Byte, and I will see you in the next video.